All right, guys. First and foremost, I do apologize. I know it's been a minute. Unfortunately, I've had some real world lawyer trial shit to take care of. And I know I keep saying I'd get better at this, but sorry. All right. So today we're going to dig into the cross claims. So we're talking again now civil case of Wes Watson versus Hakeem Ibrahim. So we're getting into these cross claims. Now, a cross claim is when another defendant files a claim against a co-defendant, essentially. So to simplify it, Elevation Fitness here is filing a cross claim against Wes. And essentially what they're saying is that this isn't our fault, it's this guy's fault. We'll get into some of the specifics of what's being alleged, and Wes actually has his counsel file a motion to dismiss the cross claim, so we'll get into both of those. We'll have copies of those, and we'll break down, is this cross claim going to stand? What's his defense going to be? And who the hell cares anyway? So quick crash course. Cross claim, again, is when defendants stop singing Kumbaya and start pointing fingers at each other. They're basically saying, hey, if I'm paying, he's paying too. And we have the copy here, we'll put up somewhere, of the cross claim filed by Elevation Fitness against Wes Watson. Here we see it says cross defendants, so here this would be Wes Watson is liable for any and all damages alleged by plaintiff to the extent said damages were caused, contributed to, or exacerbated by their actions and omissions. Okay, translation, guys. Elevation Fitness is saying, hey, it's not our fault a psycho instigated fights at our gym. That wasn't foreseeable. It's a fancy word for, is it reasonable or predictable for a gym owner to have anticipated that incident occurring? So they're saying, hey, this is not in the regular course of a gym to be able to predict something like that happening, to be able to have precautions in line. Now, in defense, there, obviously, we know there's multiple videos. We know that Wes was instigating fights at this gym for some time, and it's reasonable to assume the gym had probably seen some of those videos, excuse me. So we'll see how that plays out in the courtroom. Now, the filing goes further and states that cross plaintiffs, so that's being Elevation Fitness, demand judgment over and against cross defendants, again being Wes Watson, for indemnity and contribution. So indemnity is when someone is being sued, usually a company, and they're saying, hey, this isn't our fault, it's actually this person's fault. And they'll bring somebody into the lawsuit, either that wasn't, a part of it initially, or who is the actual fault maker. Sometimes when we see lawsuits against auto manufacturers, they'll bring in the actual manufacturer of the part as to indemnify. Let's say if there were faulty brakes, and then they go directly to the maker of the brakes, and they indemnify, basically bringing them in to the lawsuit and saying, hey, if we have to cut the check, you have to pay for it, or at least we're splitting it. You have some contribution at fault, and therefore if a judgment is against us, then you have some financial fault as well that you'll have to contribute. All right, now what's the strategy behind a cross claim? And why file this at all? So two big reasons. First, shift the blame. No one here wants to be the last man standing holding liability. And two, and probably more importantly, it opens new discovery lanes, because again, now this is essentially Elevation Fitness opening a, call it a case, call it a claim, but picture it as now Elevation Fitness is also suing Wes Watson, which now allows them to start subpoenaing and deposing Wes Watson. So now suddenly your co-defendant is grilling you harder than the plaintiff. So this comes down to a lot of courtroom chess, except everyone's pawns here are suing each other. Now, more importantly, how does this affect Hakeem Ibrahim, the plaintiff? He probably has the most to benefit from this, because when the defendants start fighting each other, they hand you the evidence on a silver platter. Like I said, it not only saves a tremendous amount of work, time, money for Hakeem's lawyers, and allows essentially Elevation to take on that burden. And he just has to sit back and let the exhibits pour in. Now, how does this affect the defense? So for Wes Watson here, it's chaos. The cross-claim forces both Wes and Elevation Fitness now to start fighting against each other instead of having a united front against Ibrahim in this case. So it becomes every man for themselves. And guess what? Jurors see that. If your co-defendant doesn't believe your story, why should they? All right, so most importantly, guys, who the hell cares? What does this matter anyway? Well, likely where this will go is to more motions to dismiss the cross-claim, which again, we'll have a copy here of Wes's counsel attempting to dismiss the cross-claim, and defendants subpoenaing each other's emails, texts, maybe gym records. And most importantly, and difficult for Wes, now he's essentially fighting on three separate fronts. Obviously, he's got his criminal case. Now he's got a civil case, and now he's got an additional cross-claim to defend against. So, at some point, I know he's got money, but this isn't cheap. He's defending all three, and if the criminal case does not go his way, all these sort of domino effect occurs, and all these pieces topple, and we'll see, what his strategy is, and if he can get himself out of this. All right, so I wonder what you guys think down below. Do you guys think that Wes is going to be able to defend against this cross-claim? Meaning that, do you think Wes is able to say, no, this gym does have at least some responsibility? And again, I anticipate those defenses, including the fact that Wes posted multiple times instigating, call it instigating these fights to occur at the gym. So would it be reasonable for the gym to have anticipated that? That's what I want to hear from you guys, what you think. As a gym owner, and not just a regular gym owner, this particular gym owner, having Wes Watson, do you think that it's reasonable for him to have anticipated that occurring? And, more importantly in this case, then, does the gym bear any fault? And if you think so, how much fault? 50-50, or do you think the gym is completely responsible? I'm curious. Let me know, you guys, down below.